welcome to Interfaith Insights Spotlight on Faith, the programme that really looks at how music inspires us and how our faith plays a role with our music. And every week we've been looking at some amazing artists, and this week we have a very special artist, Miss Cynthia Gentle. In many ways a real powerhouse, renowned vocalist. She's been described as one of the most exciting new voices in the jazz, blues, soul scene. People might remember her from previous bands like the Fabulous Corvettes, right? The True Tones, Cynthia Gentle and the True Tones, who are very popular on the Edinburgh jazz circuit. She is also an actress and has been on reality TV shows as well. Many people remember you from Come Down With Me. And more recently, you've also come to prominence, obviously, as one of the leaders of the Edinburgh Black Lives Matters protest.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you listen to a lot of your material, you can find that the clues also about the activism that you've went into. I thought it was interesting. I was reading an interview that you had written about wanting to bring a new perception of African music and talking about the need for Zimbabweans to celebrate original music. And really talking about how the one good thing Nigerian people have seemed to have done is being able to celebrate their culture through their music and not wanting to do generic stuff. They just being happy to see, this is who we are, this is our culture, this is our music, and
Yeah.
it's created an identity in people, and it's taken up kind of worldwide. Whereas other music maybe hasn't just hit that level. There's a bit of me thinking that when I've heard you also talking behind Black Lives Matters movement and other things, you really are encouraging people to grab their African identity, be inspired, be true to who you are and celebrate it.
That's right.
I thought that was great when you're talking about that from your music.
Yeah, that's right. Because we owe it to ourselves to just be as authentic as possible and to just show up in society as Africans, not as watered down versions of whatever you read in history books. We have to be true to ourselves. We have to show up with our thick accents, with our long names, with our big, bright, colorful clothes.
Of course.
We have to show up.
Well, I mean, some of the Gaelic and the Welsh names are very, very long, so if we can get them, we can also...
Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, in about 2010, I got together with some Zimbabweans and we organized a march in the city center for Zimbabwe's forgotten children. It was to raise funds for orphans of HIV in Zimbabwe. So I think that's when I kind of started working on a social level like this. And then this time round, I think we were planning to have something happen for Black Lives Matter here in Edinburgh, and the protest kind of, they were organizing this protest, but they were Scottish. And I think we began a conversation about how it needed to have African people, Black people, running that, operation. So Lizzie and I and Benita got together and we organized this with the help of a lot of other people who help us put it together. And it's just, we've been aware of injustices for a long time. And I think what George Floyd has done is it's helped accelerate the speed and really emphasize the urgency of the need for some things to be cleared up, I'm mostly moved by our allies. These people are asking for ways, how can we stop this? What can we do in our places of work, wherever we are socially? What can we do to make sure we like nip this thing in the bud? And it's having conversations about that with people who are willing to learn. There are people who are not willing to learn, who are turning a blind eye. And, it's not going to go away because some people aren't interested in the topic. I was going to say that if you've always been accustomed to privilege, then equality sounds very threatening.
Sure. But it does feel like there's a turning point here. It does feel like something significant has changed. And I mean, I'm amazed on so many levels. The first thing that amazed me was just how quickly you managed to organize it and just how many people got behind it in such a short space of time. And just how organized everything seems to have things are just seem to be fitting together now,
Yeah.
where people seem to be standing up and saying, yeah, I want to take responsibility, I want to help, I want to be part of the change. I think that's great. Something's happening, isn't it?
Something is happening, and that's something that's been brought about by the lockdown. I think. I think there's a connection with being told we can't go out, we can't do this, we can't do that, and realizing other areas where we have been limited. You know, we realize it's not just in the lockdown that we've been limited, not just our movements, that even on the whole in society, there are so many limitations for Black and ethnic minority people. The jobs that we can go for, the studies we can go for, staying in this country. You pay so much visa fees to stay in this country, you know, and that limits progress because you're working to pay for a visa application. It takes you 6-9 months to work for that. And by the time you recover from that, you've got bills to pay. And then before you even think of a holiday to visit your loved ones in Africa, you're due to renew your visa again. I know. And these are systems that are put in place, and I don't think they help us.
No.
They're oppressive.
Yeah, and I know what it's like. My wife, being from Rwanda, get to that final stage of visas. I couldn't count up how many thousands of pounds really that it comes to altogether once you add in all the fees. It's just sickening. It's like a business for these people. It almost feels like. Yeah. And what do you think are your kind of hopes for the Black Lives Matters movement? Or I mean, I don't know. Is there another way that you define it in Edinburgh? Is it still called Black Lives Matters movement, or have you got another way of defining it? I saw something really powerful from you that you'd written or said to one of the newspapers. We just want to deal with that before it gets any worse. If we don't deal with this now, I would hate for my child to be dealing with issues like this 20 years down the line. We want to put things in place where people don't have to be fighting for their survival. But it's not just physical survival, it's mental survival, just what you've been saying. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. So what are your hopes then that's going to come about from this movement?
Yeah. So what we've done is we do not want to get lost under the banner of Black Lives Movement. So our movement here in Scotland is got a different name, which we're going to announce publicly in just a few days.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Because our struggles are different from the struggles in America. We sympathize with them, you know, and we sympathize with them, and we acknowledge racism isn't just an American thing. We have a different kind of racism that we're trying to bring people to awareness of here. And that's what we're trying to work together to tackle. We're trying to bring, we're trying to make sure ideas on diversity are always a focal point in conversations, in employment, in healthcare, in all these different places in society. So our struggle is different. So our message will be different. And we're on the ground right now, putting together what our message is going to be going forward.
What do you want to see in terms of education?
Well, there's two types of education. There's the education you're going to get from schools, and then there's things you're going to get to know socially through social media, through newspapers and things like that. So we have got an education team and a media team that are going to be working closely to make sure that our culture is represented, not just in the schools, but also we want to be present. We want to be invited to schools to speak to students about diversity issues. And we don't just want to feature in the headlines in the Black History Month. You know, we want to be a major part of contributing to Scotland's development. You know, when we talk about Black history, the one thing that we really want corrected is always referring back to slavery, you know, because that puts us on a one down position. Yeah. We can talk about Black culture without going on and on about slavery. We can talk about Black culture here and now. What's happening? What are people from this country like? What do people from this country like? What are they bringing to the community? We're all working together for a better, equal society. So we have something to bring. We have a lot of talent to bring. And we don't want to just be minimized to the color of our skin.
Yeah. And as we've been talking a lot about music, it just come into my mind also that why in the music curriculum we could be celebrating some African music.
Yeah.
I mean, it's becoming a very big genre, but it's probably not something that most of music teachers would have much experience in.
Well, they need to get educated.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's not being ignorant at this point is not an excuse. They should take responsibility and educate themselves. This is what's happening in the world right now, and they need to keep up.
I don't remember a few years ago. I think Rise Katonga, who used to go into schools and do some music and things. So maybe we need to encourage more schools also to be doing that. But all different areas of the curriculum, of course.
Oh yeah.
And finally, talking about your music and your activism, is there any way that they might come together? Are there any plans to kind of think of? I mean, some of the great singers that we've talked about, Eden, Miriam Makeba, I think Nina Simone, they were, a lot of their music also challenged the injustice and spoke out about
that is true. That is true. Maybe in future things will merge, but at the moment it's the music is about my own struggles at the moment. Maybe when I develop and mature as a singer, I'll be able to speak on a bigger scale.
Scale. But you're a romantic at heart, so we understand where a lot of your music comes from. But it's been wonderful talking to you. But finally, do you have any message or anything you want to share with the viewers here?
I think because of what's happening in the world right now, I just want to encourage people not to silence victims of racial abuse. If somebody has something to say, please listen to them. And I want us to remember that Black lives are as important as any other life. And at the moment, with the debate about the statues and what goes up and what must come down, really we wouldn't be having this debate or these long discussions if it was a statue about Hitler. So that way of thinking, where one race means more to people than another, really should be challenged. We would not be having these conversations if it was Hitler up there. So I would challenge people who are for the statues to remain and continue to glorify the evils of the past, to really think about their thought process concerning race issues. That probably needs a bit of re-evaluating in these times that we're in.
Cynthia Gentle, thank you so much. You've left a very powerful message and a lot for people to think about, and we hope people will become more involved and more encouraged to actually come and support the work of the movement in Edinburgh. And we wish you all the best also with your up and coming single and album, which we're all desperate to see.
So, thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.